Is it time for me to get more triggered? More than I already am? Yeah, probably. The, the little mermaid who lived at the bottom of the sea couldn't speak the human tongue very well. By the same token, I couldn't really communicate with the other students. It didn't help that I was a clam, not a beautiful princess. Oh, you're pretty, clam. Don't worry about it. Everyone around me could live a normal life. I envied them from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't study or make friends. Moving around a little would get my heart screaming with pain. Just keeping myself breathing was all I could manage. At first, a number of my classmates made an effort to draw me out of my solitude, but I didn't know what to say to them. Most of the time, I just nodded in my head and mumbled "yeah" with a stiff expression on my face. Inevitably, the people who approached me gradually gave up, and eventually the class came to operate as if I wasn't there. That was a kind of a relief in a way. Nobody expected anything from me, so I couldn't disappoint anyone. It was as though I was made of air. Even in school, I could return to my life as a clam. I thought that was just fine. Not bad at all. My parents made sure I went to school regularly, probably thinking I'd at least have to communicate with other people there. But it wasn't rare for me to go an entire day without speaking a single word. Even when the teacher took attendance, they'd just glance in my direction, not even bothering to call my name. Wow. Why is everyone just the worst person? As my free time increased, I began to think pretty regularly about the point of my existence, or rather, the pointlessness. Why was I going to school? Why was I even alive? I considered those questions at some length. Watching from afar as my classmates laughed together and chatted enthusiastically about television, sometimes I would have to fight down the urge to burst into tears. They were so close, but I was separated from them by an insurmountable wall. Even a trash can is useful to others. I was just taking up space. Oh my god. Why was I born in the first place? God, we gotta deal with all these girls' problems. My parents had given me a cell phone, saying I'd probably need it as a student. There wasn't a single message or call recorded in the history log. The memory was clean, pure white. Just the way I like it. My phone not having any goddamn messages on. That phone must have been lighter than anyone else's. It was empty inside. Unless I kept a firm grip on it, it'd probably float up into the air, get pecked at by some passing bird, and disappear with a pop. Oh, what the fuck? In the end, that was my only conclusion. A year passed in that school, then two, and that was my only constant rock of truth. What the... Hello? I don't want to be here. On the deserted rooftop of the school building, looking up into the blue sky that stretched out over the road to school, I longed for death. I simply didn't understand the point of continuing to breathe. Living every day as a non-entity is something like walking on an icy road in bare feet. At first it's scary, but soon enough your nerves are paralyzed. You feel nothing at all. A good while later, when you realize this might be pretty bad, it's already far too late. There's nowhere to go from here. There's nothing to be done. You live every day of your life frozen to the ground, choking on bitter cold air. Why did it just go went straight dark? There was no transition. With that thought in mind, I began to head up to the roof during every recess period. Up there, the only thing separating me from the world from the next was a waist-high steel fence. Someday I'll cross over that fence and become free. Someday I'll escape into nothingness. Comforted by those thoughts, I waited patiently for the right timing. I waited for someone, God or anyone else, to send a sign just for me. I'd wrap my arms around my knees and sit, telling myself maybe today would be the day. Maybe today the clouds would part for a ray of light and a voice from above would say, "Come, it's time." I would stare closely at the trains barreling past the station, wondering if the sign might flash past in the window of a carriage. But instead, I just sat by myself on that roof. No matter how long and patiently I waited, I never saw any signals. Nobody ever whispered the words in my ear. See, there's a transition. In the end, I was all alone, just like I was everywhere else. Every place was the same to me. I was in the corner of the room where I'd been beaten terribly. I was deep at the bottom of the sea, where no light could reach me. I was at the end of the world, surrounded on all sides by silent walls of stone. God must have been busy with something else or someone else. Otherwise, why wouldn't he fly over to me and speak the words? Hello? One day, when I went to the rooftop as usual, I found a girl who had just in that very same moment crossed over the fence. She was probably standing boldly on the very edge of the building, staring straight ahead. And when I saw her, one powerful thought filled my mind. That's not fair. After all my anguished internal debating, all my suffering, all my waiting, I couldn't get myself over that fence. Why did this girl get to make it look so easy? That girl was going to kill herself. She was going to leap off the roof, fall onto the concrete below, and end her life. It was obvious enough from the way she stood there, straddling the border between roof and sky, arms outstretched like wings to catch the wind. Seemed almost like to be enjoying herself. It wasn't the sort of pose you can make if you cared about your own life. I don't know, maybe she's carefree. Anyway, it wasn't fair. Why did she get to die when I had to live? I didn't have the first idea who she was, but it just wasn't fair. Michiru? God damn it. I was trying to shout as loudly as I could, but what came out of my mouth was a weak, spiritless sound, like the rasping of a broken down old accordion. It probably didn't help that I wasn't used to conversation, but my voice just wasn't coming out right. The girl quietly stared down at the ground far below, not even noticing my presence behind her. She seemed to be looking for the exact moment to jump. Maybe God had already given her the signal. Michiru, can you inadvertently save this girl's life, please? I called out to her again and again, but she didn't seem to hear. Maybe I no longer even existed in this world. Maybe I'd slipped into some alternate plane of existence long ago and was just peeking into this world through an interdimensional one-way mirror. She ignored me and so completely that it seemed possible. How about you go up to her and just like, hey, what's going on here? I called out to her, my voice choked with tears, but even then she didn't turn around. The girl's body went into spasms of shock. She looked like a wild animal with its fur standing on end. Yeah, I didn't think she wanted to do that. And then, at long last, she timidly turned around to face me. Have you been watching me this whole time? Oh, my tear-stained face must have been a real sight. The girl lifted herself up off the fence and returned to this side. She was wearing the same uniform as me. Unsurprisingly, she was clearly from my school. Whoa! She has a... Whoa! Oh, she's got a sprite? What is... What? Oh, God! What is this? Who is this woman? The sprite. That means they're important. For at least a little bit. She handed me her handkerchief and I dried my tears. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. It was embarrassing, but it made me sort of happy. I didn't really know what to do next. Oh, is this her friend?
何？よう？
Is this gonna be her actual first friend? That was kind of a hard question, actually. I just didn't want her to die. And it's not like I was about to lecture her on treasuring her life or anything. I was just scared of the thought of someone else escaping this world while I was still hesitating on the edge.
その...
And you don't want to say that, huh?
何?
The girl watched me as if observing some rare species of animal. I didn't have the first idea where to begin or how to explain myself. So after thinking it over for quite some time, I chose the simplest option.
はじめまして。松島みちるです。このタイミングで挨拶?
She doesn't know how to talk to people. Leave her alone.
しかもそれだけ? 終わり? それを言うためだけに?
She's very expressive. Screwed up after all, huh? Guess I can't even manage a normal conversation anymore. The thought made me genuinely sad. I couldn't find my usual numb indifference. Felt like a harsh reminder that I didn't belong in this world any longer. Michiru, stop it! And now she's laughing at me. Watching as I slumped my shoulders dejectedly, the girl burst into laughter, and although I didn't have any real evidence either way, I didn't feel like she was mocking me. It was relieved, happy laughter. The sort of laughter I hadn't heard in quite some time. Yeah, if it's one thing Michiru is, it's just weird. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just stood there quietly as she laughed and laughed. But no matter how patiently I waited, she just wouldn't stop. Much the opposite. After a while, she threw herself down on the ground and began to roll around, her roars of amusement even louder than before. I wish we knew how to laugh. But, all our backstories are really dark and depressing and sad. Funny thing that I just didn't want you to die. And in fact, I want to die. Michiru, stop. Watching her rolling around like that started to get me in a kind of silly mood myself. The moment I noticed a little giggle slipping from my mouth, the dam seemed to break. I began laughing so loudly I surprised myself. She has not laughed in years. Both are dorks. The two of us laughed for a very, very long time. Long enough that the color of the sky changed above us. Long enough that I could almost believe whole seasons had passed by. With her laughter finally coming to an end, the girl rose shakily to her feet, both hands clutching her belly. She opened her mouth to speak, but at first she could only manage a few high-pitched little giggles. So that was it after all. The girl had been planning to die. Oh, well. I still thought she was just up there just because. I knew that much from the start, but when she came out and said it so bluntly, I was still slightly taken aback. I guess. Can we be friends? Oh, we got a Wookiee life debt going on? I like it. I didn't deserve to be thanked by anyone. Why was she saying this to me? Because you stopped her from committing suicide. She just can't understand. Everyone, let's just calm down. The girl wrapped a hand around my neck and drew me close. After briefly petting my head, she hugged me tightly against her. Oh.
あなたは本当に変な子だね。でもそういう子嫌いじゃないぞ。とか言ったりしてな。
Oh my. Her chest had a sweet, milky odor. I never smelt another girl's body like this before. I didn't know what to do about anything, really. It was all too much. My mind just couldn't keep up.
そうだな。友達になろうか。うん、友達になろう。何しろ命の恩人だもんね。これはもう親友だな、むしろ。そうだよ、親友だよ。親友じゃん？
Michiru, you have a best friend who's probably inevitably gonna leave you.
親友？
Because what's a backstory without losing some friends, right? Like we had Yumiko who thought she had friends, but she didn't really have friends, and we had Makina who didn't have friends in the first place. You had Amine who had friends and then ate them. No, she didn't eat them. Don't worry about it. And then you got Michiru, who's gonna get this friend, but she's probably gonna leave and fuck her brain up even more, and it'll.
よろしくね、親友。
What's your name, though?
よろしくお願いします。
I've convinced myself there was no place for me in this world, but when I felt the life pulsing in her chest, I found myself able to breathe easily again. She smelled sweet, and her body was soft and warm. I couldn't remember the last time I'd been so close to another person. Contact with other people had always seemed scary, and it was really scary, to be honest, but at the same time, how can I put this? More than anything else, it felt like someone was gently tickling my heart. My heart! Oh God. I returned home that day feeling as if I'd been reborn. We didn't even find out her name, but that's okay. Probably because of my unusually cheerful expression, my parents struck up a conversation with me for the first time in a while. I wasn't able to explain very well, but I did tell them I'd gotten to know somebody at school. I didn't say I made a friend, let alone a best friend. After all, there was still a chance it had all been a delusion on my part. Maybe tomorrow everything would be right back to the way it was. That would be way too sad, right? Better not get my hopes up. Michiru, calm down. My parents said, I see, good for you. Mixed emotions on their faces. Not that it bothered me much. That night I ate my dinner silently, slightly earlier than usual, and slipped into bed slightly before my normal time. For once I actually wanted tomorrow to arrive a little faster. The downfall's approaching. I mean, it's already been a downfall, but... But in school the next day, I found everything the same. It wasn't like I had changed after all. I was still just myself. Nobody in my class even tried talking to me. That morning, I thought I might be able to keep a bit of a smile on my face, but in the end, my expression was gloomier than ever. Maybe that girl I met the day before was a sign from God. A little cosmic meddling to keep myself from killing myself at the wrong time. Could have just said so from the start then. I nearly misunderstood. Nearly thought I'd found some place where I belonged. Nearly thought it was okay for me to live. Nearly started thinking like a normal person. That was a close one. I almost forgot what my tutors taught me so thoroughly. Yeah, that had to be it. I didn't have a best friend. That was all a dream. Dreams aren't worth it, are they? You end up feeling really tired when you wake up. What? That was weird. After school, I stood from my seat before anyone else and beeline for the exit. For now, I just wanted to get out of that place. Back to the rooftop. Get to the rooftop. But the rooftop had become frightening, so I couldn't go back there. I wanted to run away, but I couldn't figure out where to go. All I knew was that I didn't want to be where I was. So I went to the rooftop. When I slid open the door and dashed out into the hallway, there was a harsh thump and everything went black for a moment. In my haste, I'd run headlong into someone. Is it our new friend or someone who's just going to be aggressive with us? Somehow squeezing out the words, I turned to run. But before I could take another step, someone firmly seized me by the back of my uniform. I reflexively dropped my bag and shielded my head against the blow that could follow. Jesus. This was a deeply ingrained habit from my childhood. When the tutors hit my head strongly, the nausea and dizziness would sometimes last for hours. If nothing else, I wanted to avoid that. Dude, again, still hate those people. But the violence I feared didn't arrive. On the contrary, my captor bent down and picked up the bag I'd thrown to the ground. There she is.
相変わらず変な人だね、松島みちる。
Why didn't she introduce herself when we introduced ourselves? Probably because she was laughing too much. It was the first time in a while somebody had bothered to call me that. A silly thought flashed through my head. Oh, so that's what my name sounds like. God damn it.
ねえ、お腹空いたからどむんない？おごるから。
What's Dom Dom?
どうなる？
Not even Michiru knows. She's derpy, so... Nah, she's just dumb. In front of my eyes was the girl from my dream. I was definitely awake, but somehow I was dreaming.
断ったりしないよね。親友だもんね。この後何か用事でもあるの？
I couldn't find myself to get myself to speak properly, so I shook my head vigorously from left to right. No, nothing at all. And I kept right on doing it, until at last the girl reached out and caught my cheeks in her hands to hold me still.
わかったわかった。それじゃあ、行こう。お腹空いちゃった。
Someone, tell me what Dom Dom is so I can be more excited about food. So I look up at the sky. Oh god, never mind. Oh, it's getting... She led me by the hand, and for the first time in my life, I entered a so-called fast food restaurant. Ooh, what kind? I mean, I don't know, Dom Dom. The complicated menu and colorful photographs left me lightheaded. She'd never been to a fast food place before? Oh my god. I didn't have the first idea how to order. After stewing in confusion and panic for a long while, I tugged on her sleeve.
あなた、本当にこういうところ初めてなの？
I quietly nodded my head. She just watched me for a moment, then laughed in amusement. A little later, a small tray sat on our surprisingly cramped little table, bearing the hamburger and fries the girl ordered for me. Is Dom Dom just a place? Not like... Oh, god damn it. It felt like she was really close. Eating a meal with my face so near to someone else's made me kind of nervous. I could feel my stomach churning. What was I gonna do if I threw up? Just eat the goddamn shit.
あなた、隣のクラスだったんだね。こんなに面白い子がいるなんて全然知らなかった。
Yeah, Michiru's real weird.
ん？どうかした？これ、写真と全然違う。ぺたんこ。
Yup. That's how it goes.
ハンバーガー？本当に面白いね。
That's because they gotta make it look real good on the photo, but then you get it and it's like, okay.
え、面白い？
What is funny?
うん、面白い。そうだ、あなたクラスメートになんて呼ばれてるか知ってる？
Nothing.
私、何か言われてるの？そう、言われてる。しかも悪口。幽霊って呼ばれてんの。笑っちゃうでしょ？
Ghost girl, what asses. I hope they get in a bus to go to some basketball retreat and then they come back and they fall off a cliff and have to eat themselves to survive.
なんでよって思ったから、そんなこと言うのよしなさいって言っておいたわよ。
She chattered happily on, swinging a fry back and forth. I had no idea to respond, so I reached out and ate that fry. I mean, I was surprised to know they bothered to badmouth me. I almost said bathmouth. I don't even know what that is. But I was even more shocked she told them to stop. Why was this person being so nice to me?
しかもあなたお嬢らしいじゃん。だからってファーストフード初めてってちょっと浮世離れしすぎじゃない？お嬢？そう、お嬢。ところでさ、携帯ある？赤外線やろうよ、赤外線。
赤外... Even Michiru did that too.
わかった。それは今度にしよう。 ひとまず今日は食べなさい食べなさい。ここは私のおごりだから、そのぺったんこたーんとお食べ。どうせ私にはこれぐらいしかおごれないんだし。
Oh, did she get us something from the dollar menu? Is Dom Dom just McDonald's? She got me a small fry and a cheeseburger because it's only like $2. I picked up the miserably flat little hamburger from its bed of wrapping paper and took a large bite. Yup, it's gotta be McDonald's. To my surprise, a strong, vibrant flavor instantly filled my mouth. Might not have looked like anything from the photo, but it actually tastes pretty good. I mean, still could be McDonald's, I guess. McDonald's is like okay. It's like okay at best. It's not like the best thing in the world. It'll feed you. Who's got really good burgers as fast food? I'd say most places have really good burgers, honestly. I should know. I'm a burger connoisseur. Michiru, don't talk with your mouth full.
なんで泣いてんの？謎なんだけど。おいしくて泣いてんの？それは大げさでしょ。ゾウさんも大喜びだな、こりゃ。
Mr. Elephant? The hamburger was warm. The girl in front of me was kind, and I couldn't stop crying. Not surprisingly, she looked a little astounded, but even so, she laughed. No matter what I did, she'd just laugh. You found a friend. A friend. After that, she started coming by every day after school, inviting me along in all sorts of different places. I guess she must have found my complete cluelessness kind of entertaining. One day it was karaoke, the next an arcade, the day after that was something else entirely. I got to see a lot of new places and experience a lot of new things.
ねえねえ、ここに書いてある初プリって何？
She laughed when I asked this question too. More than anything else, she was a girl who laughed a lot, and the places I went with her were always glittering with vivid rainbows of light. Oh God. When I went back home after we said goodbye, my room looked stale and dismal in comparison. It was like falling into a broken down monochrome world. More and more I spent my time impatiently counting down the hours until our next outing, wishing she'd swoop down and take me out of there. Yeah, just have your life consumed by this girl because she's gonna leave you. She's gonna leave you or get eaten. I remember getting off the train with her at some station I'd never visited before, and buying matching pencil boxes in a store I'd never known existed. After anguishing over my choice for dozens of minutes, I bought her a small hairpin as a present and got a pouch in return. We traded hair scrunchies, ate ice cream together. The days rolled by like one unbroken dream. Her email address and phone number were recorded in my cell phone. I was too scared to actually message her or dial her number, but for some reason, just looking at those characters on the screen would bring a smile to my face. It's all gonna come downhill. One day, the two of us were on the rooftop after school, gazing leisurely out at the setting sun. The girl spoke to me in a quiet voice as the wind blew through her hair.
Michiru 聞いてこないよね。
Your name, or why you were gonna commit suicide, or...
何が？どうして飛び降りようとしてたかってこと。
She was always smiling, so I was taken aback to see her looking so serious all of a sudden. And more importantly, that completely unexpected question left me thoroughly flustered.
だって死にたかったんでしょ？それが全てじゃない。それ以上何を聞くの？そりゃそうだね。飛び降りの理由なんてそれしかないもんね。ミチルは本当に変な子だ。
It's just that sort of thing. Let's not talk about it. Let's just continue our lives as long as you don't try it again, you know.
そうかな。そんなことないけど。私はね、いろいろな人にいろいろなことを聞かれるんだ。進路がどう、彼氏がどう、バイトがどう、手の傷がどう、薬がどう、 中に出すとか、もうよくわかんないよ。も
Uh,
っとシンプルな世界で生きていたいと思う。
what, what, that escalated real quick. Well, hold on. I didn't really understand what she was saying, so I listened very carefully. I hoped that if I listened carefully enough, I'd be able to pick up at least a little.
結局さ、人間って一人だよね。私のことを心から大事にしてくれる人なんてどこにもいないんだ。最後にはみんな消えていくよね。
I wanted to say it wasn't true, but I couldn't manage to speak.
嫌われたくないな。だったら先に私から嫌ってやりたい。私から先に消えてしまいたい。なんてね。あ、ごめんね。行かなきゃ。
What, that got real,
行ってらっしゃい。
Manka S.
みちる。何？好きだよ。
Aw, well. We don't even know your name, but we love you too. With those words, she playfully pretend kissed me. Oh, don't ever say pretend in this goddamn route anymore. Pretend kissed me on the cheek. My face went red as a lobster, and I made a strange little noise.
冗談。またね。
Bye. The evening sun was just sinking below the horizon as she left, still laughing. I just stood there for a while as the darkness settled over the rooftop. That would have escalated so... Why am I still here? The cell phone was always ringing. I didn't like it. Every time she was called off somewhere, she'd be quiet and subdued for a long time afterward. Oh. Her smiles looked forced. I was worried somebody might be doing cruel things to her, but I wasn't able to ask. Sometimes she'd notice the concern in my eyes and laugh. It's okay, don't worry, yeah. But I knew it wasn't. It wasn't okay at all. No, it's not. Not when you're... This probably isn't the event that makes you want to kill yourself. It was a complete coincidence, but I'd seen a pregnancy test fall out of her bag when she dropped it. Oof. I knew she'd been absent for a while after that. I was afraid asking her something would pop the bubble, destroy what we had. And because of that fear, I stayed silent. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. Even then, I knew I was being a coward. She had pulled me up from the bottom of the sea. Shouldn't I return the favor? Take her hand like she did for me? The question tormented me for a very long time. But there was no way I could do what she had done. I was still a little piece of trash. Shut up, Michiru. It was only thanks to her that I could laugh a little. It was only thanks to her that I had found a little happiness. I couldn't allow myself to misunderstand. This was a temporary world, a dream I'd wake up from eventually. Lingering alone on the roof, I gripped this cold metal handrail tightly. I still didn't have the courage to make the short journey to the other side of the fence. In that respect, too, she was an amazing person. She had so much life that she had so much that I didn't. Even the courage to end her own life. For a few days after answering that phone call, she didn't attend school. I was consumed by the fear something bad might have happened to her. Just like when I was a child, I knelt by my windowsill and whispered countless prayers.
神様、どうか守ってあげてください。今まで通り、彼女が笑っていられるようにしてください。
I mean, you heard all the things she was talking about? Oof. Ugh. Ugh. I don't like it. At school, I would hesitate in my classroom at the end of the day, thinking she might appear in the doorway, like always, to drag me off to play. But I was a ghost in that class. I didn't dare make myself conspicuous. Hello? I reluctantly trudged up to the roof and waited for her, but no matter how patiently I waited, she never came. I don't know, you have a phone that you could call her from. There was nothing but the steady passage of time. I did nothing but draw breath in a monochrome world. Oh, one day somebody called my cell phone from a withheld number. I was scared to pick it up, but thinking it might be her, I gathered up all the courage I could muster and pressed the answer button.
もしもし。
Hello? On the other side of the line, I heard someone breathing harshly as if in pain. Maybe it was nothing more than a random prank call from a stranger. But in my mind's eye, I saw her on the other end, the person I cared more about anyone else in this world. And I remembered the words on the roof that day. Oh. Back then, I wasn't able to give her a proper response. I'd left so many things left unsaid. I decided to convey those feelings to whoever this might be.
どうして一人だなんて思うの？ちゃんとあなたのこと友達だって思って大切にしてる人がいるよ。それなのにどうして一人でどこかに行こうとするの？あなたは置いていかれるのがどんなに辛いか分かってないんだ。だから勝手にどこかに行こうとしちゃうんだ。失うことは当たり前だよ。誰かに嫌われることだって特別なことじゃない。私あなたのこと大好きだよ。だからどこにも行かないで。もしあなたが自分のことを不幸せだと思うならこれから幸せになろう。ここに戻ってきてこれからまた一緒に生きよう。
She is letting it all out. Oh, well, the person on the other end of the line hung up without a word. Felt as though I'd been abandoned, left behind. I squeezed my cell phone tightly in my hand. Even now, I don't really know who called me that day. What if it was just some telemarketer that was gonna speak, but then it wasn't? Like they were just, okay, I'm gonna do this. And then you started speaking, and the next time I saw my friend was more than 2 weeks later. By that point, even sitting through class had been unbearably agonizing. I would spend the entire day on the roof waiting for her. And one day, completely out of the blue, she appeared before me once again. I couldn't say a word. There wasn't a trace remaining of the girl who always laughed happily. Her school uniform was tattered and torn. Her hair looked like it had been hacked at with a knife. Her face, too, was full of bruises. Numerous wounds, as cruel as anything the tutors had inflicted on me, were openly visible even in the most conspicuous of places. Something terrible must have happened. Something so terrible I didn't even want to imagine it. And it must have lasted a horribly long time. Just like that, there were tears in my eyes. God didn't protect her. I couldn't protect her. Damn you, God.
大丈夫。これは私が望んだことだから。彼に捨てられたくなくてしたことだから。
I hadn't asked a question, but she answered it anyway. Those clipped, vague words weren't enough for me to understand what really happened to her, but I knew she was lying. I knew many sad, horrible things must have happened. Things she couldn't possibly have wanted to happen. Oh, God. I slowly approached her, then wrapped my arms around her trembling body. It surprised even me. I hadn't expected myself to do such a thing.
ありがとう。みちるは優しいね。
そんなことない。
そんなことあるよ。あなたは優しい子だよ。ねえ、噂は聞いてるでしょ。あれってその通りなんだ。まったくバカだと思うよ。笑っていいよ。
In the classroom, my friend had become the subject of rumors. My classmates said she'd gotten to know a man decades older than her over the internet. A man with a wife and children. Oh, they said he treated her like his mistress. They said something about photos of her and that man getting scattered around the internet, about him making her have sex with other men. One morning, there had been a naked photo of her taped on top of my desk. I silently tore it off, shoved the paper into a trash can, and immediately left the classroom, slamming the door behind me as loudly as I could. but none of it mattered to me. No matter what sort of thing she'd done, it didn't change the fact that she was my best friend.
バカじゃないよ。私はバカだけど。
そうだね。こんな私と仲良くしてくれるなんてバカかもね。
Yeah, she is pretty dumb.
そんなことないもん。
And actually dumb. Like actually.
私、学校で嫌われてるんだ。友達もいないの。でもね、誰も相手にしてくれないからあなたと友達になったわけじゃないからね。あなたのことがいいなって思ったから友達になったんだからね。それだけは本当。でも信じてくれないよね。こんな私だもんね。
I wanted to say, of course, I know that, but my voice failed me. It felt as though a chunk of cardboard had wedged itself in my throat. I couldn't force out even a tiny squeak.
私はミチルのこと親友だってちゃんと思ってる。ごめんね、こんなに汚れた友達で。こんなんで本当にごめんね。
I wanted to tell her that she wasn't filthy, but I couldn't say a word. All I could do was hug her tightly.
私、彼のことが好き。彼がしろって言えばどんなことでもした。奥さんと別れてくれるなんてそんなの最初から嘘だって分かってた。だけどそれでもよかったの。子供ができた時だって迷惑がかかるから病院だってちゃんと一人で行ったよ。
もういいよ。話さなくていい。大丈夫だよ。
他の人としろって言われても頑張った。相手が何人でも何回でも頑張った。でももう限界。だってあの人はもう私のこと好きじゃないから。
Feel like he didn't love you in the first place, but okay. Oh! She gave me another pretend kiss on my cheek. I closed my eyes and returned the gesture. Watching me, she laughed for just a moment. Oh, what? And then she slipped out of my arms. Scrapes of her uniform danced in the wind like feathers blown loose from the wings of a bird in flight. She put her hands on the fence and swung herself over the other side. Oh, graceful as a dancer. No.
ミチル、もう私限界。あの人が私に興味のない世界になんて、あの人が存在しない世界になんていたくない。
But that guy's a piece of shit. What? No, straddling the border between roof and sky, standing on the line that divided this world from the next, she spoke to me. A single thought ran through my dazed brain. It's just like the first time we met.
先に行くね。
I wanted to say, I'll come with you. You're not the only one, you know. I'm not interested in a world without you in it. So if you're going, I'll come along. Just don't leave me behind. Don't leave me here alone. I wanted to tell her. You joked that you loved me once, but I really do love you. That's the reason I'm still alive today. I wanted her to know, but I couldn't speak or move. My body felt like it was encased in concrete. I couldn't lift a single finger.
さよなら、ミチル。
Oh. Well, that got, I wanted to say words. Or the word, oh God, my brain. I wanted to say the words, we're best friends, aren't we? Let's die together. But instead, I just watched her in silence like a complete idiot. See, I was right. I'm the stupid one after all. I didn't know what to do. I just cowered, and then I tried to scramble over the rail to see her, to see the end. But I couldn't do it. No matter what, I couldn't get myself over that fence. That's fucked up. I could feel my feet giving way underneath me. I couldn't even keep myself upright. Why hadn't I died with her? I was right from the start. There was never a place for me here. Screwed up big. Screwed up big this time, didn't I? Shouldn't have let myself think I could be some normal person. Shouldn't have thought I could find something that like happiness. In the end, it vanishes. The bubble pops. In that case, it would have been better to have got my hopes up in the first place. Just like my parents stopped expecting anything from me, I should have stopped expecting anything from the world. I heard the wail of a siren and a chorus of horrified screams from far away. And then I fainted. My body still twined awkwardly around that fence. What the fuck? Just before I lost consciousness, I heard a sound like the click of a television set falling silent. I don't know if it was a hallucination or not, but I heard it clearly. What? Hello? What the It just got so... It kept escalating so quickly. Why did it keep escalating? Why can't we just have someone who's got a backstory that's just like, yeah, I had a fun life. It was great, no suicide, eating people, neglect, watch my dad die. None of that happened. It was all totally fine, but I'm still badass. I laughed to cope with sadness.